Welcome to this week's episode of The Language of Leadership. I'm your host, Chuck Marting, and I want to continue with some of the things that we learned at Breakthrough to Success. There was such good content there, a lot of good things that happened that I just feel that these are things that I can bring to you as leaders that you're going to be able to use and to be able to effectively help you in your leadership journey, but also in blessing the lives of your team members as well. So with that, on this week's episode, what I'm wanting to do, I'm going to refer to some notes again that I've taken on my phone, and I'm going to be referring to that as I go through this with you. What we're going to talk about today is I want to dive into the mindsets that either empower or hold leaders back. And what we're going to focus on today is a very crucial topic, yet it's an often overlooked topic for leadership, and that's in identifying and removing limited beliefs. Now, limited beliefs are mental blocks that we impose on ourselves. They're restrictions that are going to hinder our full potential. In today's episode, I'm going to draw on inspiration from the Breakthrough to Success seminar that I had on the assisting team with Jack Canfield. He teaches this, and he teaches these beliefs, and it not only elevates ourselves, but it also paves the way for our teams to rise with us. You know, the ability to recognize, challenge, and replace these beliefs can be the game changer for most leaders. And I'm wanting to help foster and empower and help you in building your team. So stick with me, and we're going to explore some practical methods for identifying limited beliefs. I'm going to share some real life examples again with you of leaders who transformed themselves and their teams. And we're going to discuss how embracing an empowered mindset can elevate your entire leadership journey. So first, let's start with understanding what limited beliefs are, okay? First, we need to define this and understand what those beliefs are. These are self-imposed barriers that often are rooted in past experiences, social expectations, or even fears of success and failure. You know, Jack Canfield described them as the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we're capable of, and what we deserve. Imagine a leader who has a belief like, I'm not qualified enough for this position. That thought isn't based on an objective truth, but on self-doubt. Yet it could lead them to shy away from taking bold steps, from empowering their team fully, or from even bringing an innovative idea to the table. So this belief trickles down to their team, and their team may sense this, and it's going to cause hesitancy, and it may even cause a feeling of them being less motivated or being able to be motivated by you as a leader. Now, there is a story that illustrates this, and it comes from Maria. Now, Maria is a vice president, and she's in charge of a tech company, and she is constantly questioned about her capabilities. Now, although she's highly skilled, she believes that she was an imposter, and she never took the leap to pitch her own ideas confidently to her team because she sensed the lack of self-belief, and she often mirrored it by hesitating to share those ideas or even take the initiative with her team. So when Maria began identifying her limited beliefs, she realized that her lack of confidence wasn't a reflection of her abilities, but a belief formed from her early career rejections. She replaced it with a new mindset. She reminded herself that every successful leader has to face setbacks. You know, and with time, she began leading with confidence, which in turn empowered her team to step up their game. Now, this is an example that shows how limiting beliefs can form a feedback loop of self-doubt, which is impacting not just the leader, but their entire team. So breaking this cycle begins with identifying these beliefs and committing to change. Now, what about identifying those limited beliefs? You know, Jack Canfield suggests several strategies for this, starting with self-reflection. So here's an example of an exercise that you can try. First, you need to write down your goals. Write down your biggest career or team goals, and then note the thoughts that come to mind when you think of achieving this? Next, you're going to look for patterns. Often reoccurring themes or worry will reveal themselves. Things like, I'm not good enough, my team won't follow me, or we don't have enough resources. So the next thing you have to do is you need to challenge those thoughts. You need to ask yourself, is this belief really true? And what evidence supports or even refutes this belief? Now, I want you to take the case of Liam. He's a CEO of a medium-sized company, and Liam had a limited belief. And that belief was, I'm terrible with people, so I'm never going to have a cohesive team. This belief stemmed from a few past misunderstandings that he had with colleagues. As he analyzed the reality and he realized his interactions were generally positive and that his belief was rooted in a few isolated incidents that he's had. But, upon breaking down his belief, he then could approach his team without fear of creating conflict. He practiced active listening that we've talked about here on the language of leadership in the past. And he soon, with his team meetings, became more engaged. His openness even encouraged others to contribute on his team. And this helped improve the team's cohesiveness and their ability to work together. By identifying and challenging those limited beliefs, leaders can start rewriting their own stories. You see, it's about seeing what lies beyond our perceived limitations. Once a belief is identified, breaking it involves actively working to replace it with empowering beliefs. Jack Canfield suggested affirmations, visualizations, and surrounding yourself with positive influence to reinforce that mindset. A powerful example is a story of Jessica. She's a manager at a startup, and she believed, I don't deserve to be in a leadership role because I lack the experience. Now, despite being highly qualified, that belief held her back, and her team noticed it. They noticed her lack of confidence, and as a result of that, they mirrored that same hesitation with her. And so Jessica decided to try daily affirmations. Things that she did was like, I'm a capable leader, and my team respects my guidance. But she also visualized leading her team confidently through challenging projects. She also began seeking mentorship from experienced leaders who believed in her. Now, over time, Jessica's belief shifted. She replaced it. She replaced her negative thoughts with, I don't deserve this, with, I am growing and learning every day, and I am here to contribute. Her team's attitude transformed as she did as well. Showing more initiative and trust in her leadership, Jessica's commitment to breaking her limited beliefs became the turning point for not only her, but also her team. Jessica's story illustrates that shifting a limited belief doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, it can lead to tangible changes. Leaders can adopt these types of methods to create a powerful ripple effect in their own teams. As a leader, breaking through your limited beliefs serves as a model for your team. It encourages them to tackle their own mental barriers. And when leaders demonstrate growth and vulnerability, they invite their team to do the same. Now, I want you to consider a story by John. He's a project manager at a marketing firm. John once held the belief that mistakes are unacceptable. And if I show vulnerability to my team, they're going to lose respect for me. And this belief made him unapproachable. The team feared bringing up issues with him. And because of that, projects often suffer because of a lack of open communication among not only him as a leader, but also within their team. But after attending a leadership workshop, John realized his belief was causing a toxic environment with his team. So he started openly sharing his own challenges and emphasizing the value of learning from his mistakes. He even held team sessions where everyone shared one challenge they'd faced during that week, and the impact was immediate. John's openness broke down walls with his team, and they began to communicate more freely. they no longer hid their mistakes from each other, which allowed issues to be resolved faster and improved the overall morale of his team. So John's story shows that when leaders embrace change, they can create a safe space for their team, but they have to model a mindset of growth over perfection. Leaders can encourage a culture which team members feel empowered to face their own beliefs and then be able to grow. And building on this, Jack Canfield emphasized during Breakthrough to Success the importance of creating a culture that nurtures openness, resilience, and growth. Now, this means encouraging every team member to identify and challenge their own limited beliefs. You as a leader can set up team workshops, one-on-one sessions, or you can even use reflective exercises to help team members work on their own self-limited thoughts. Let's look at another example. And this one comes from someone in the healthcare industry. And her name is Sarah. And she's a department head. And she stated that she had noticed that her team members hesitated to take ownership of decisions, which slowed down processes and decision making. She suspected, and she also believed, our ideas won't be valued by our upper management. Now, she would hold weekly empowering meetings with her team, and this allowed them to share ideas and discuss goals. And she actively celebrated each member's contributions, and then she shared stories of her own limitations and how she overcame them. Over time, team members began to step up. They started to take initiative, and they contributed to decision making. So then what happened as a result, their productivity and the morale of their team, they all started feeling valued, and they believed in their capabilities, and they supported each other even more. So by embedding empowerment into a team culture, you as a leader can create an environment where everyone can rise above limited beliefs, and then they can contribute fully to the organization. Now, as we wrap up this episode of The Language of Leadership, I want you to remember that removing limited beliefs, it's a journey. It's not just a one-time event. Leaders who commit to identifying challenges and replacing these beliefs will not only grow themselves, but also foster a team environment that's right for innovation, confidence, and empowerment. I've been inspired by Jack Canfield's teachings. And so I want you to be able to take a moment today to reflect on the beliefs that may be holding you back. And then I want you to choose one to tackle. By leading this shift, you're empowering not only yourself, but you're going to empower everyone around you. So I'd like you to join us next week for another episode of Language of Leadership as we continue exploring ways to lead with intention, integrity, and impact. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Share it with a friend, share it with anybody else, and give us a few likes on whatever platform that you're on so we can continue to grow the show. Until next week, take care.